Good day, everyone. I'm Kristen S. Interia of BS ECE3A, and I'm back with another video with my performance number 5 in the subject ECE23. And I will discuss GMSK or the Gaussian minimum shift keying. First, what is GMSK modulation? It is a form of modulation based on frequency shift keying that has no phase discontinuities and provides efficient use of spectrum as well as enabling high-efficiency radio power amplifiers. It is also called the Gaussian filtered minimum shift keying, which is a form of frequency modulation that is used in radio communication systems. GMSK Basics. GMSK modulation is known as a continuous phase scheme. Here, there are no phase discontinuities because the frequency changes occur at the carrier zero crossing points. This arises as a result of the unique factor of MSK that the frequency difference between the logic 1 and logical 0 states always equal to half the data rate. This can be expressed in terms of the modulation index, and it is always equal to 0.5. So here is the image of a concept of a minimum shift keying MSK signal. A plot of the spectrum of an MSK signal shows sidebands extending well beyond the bandwidth equal to the data rate. This can be reduced by passing the modulating signal through a low prior to applying it to the carrier. The requirements for the filter are that it should have a sharp cutoff, narrow bandwidth, and its impulse response should show no overshoot. The ideal filter is known as a Gaussian filter, which has a Gaussian shape response to an impulse and no ringing. In this way, the basic MSK signal is converted to JMSK modulation. Here is an image of JMSK spectral density with offset from carrier. Next, how GMSK modulation technique operates. The first one and the most obvious way is to filter the modulating signal using a Gaussian filter and then apply this to a frequency modulator where the modulation index is set to 0.5. This method is very simple and straightforward, but it has the drawback that the modulation index must exactly equal to 0.5. In practice, this analog method is not suitable because component tolerances drift and cannot be set exactly. So here is an image of the first method showing the JMSK modulator using the VCO and using a modulation index of 0.5. From the data input will travel to the Gaussian low-pass filter, to the voltage-controlled oscillator, and to the RF amplifier. Next, a second method is more widely used. Here, what is known as a quadrature modulator is used. The term quadrature means that the phase of a signal is in quadrature or 90 degrees to another one. The quadrature modulator uses one signal that is said to be in phase and another that is in quadrature to this. In view of in phase and quadrature elements, this type of modulator is often said to be an IQ modulator. Using this type of modulator, uh, the modulation index can be maintained at exactly 0.5 without the need for any settings or adjustments. This makes it much easier to use and capable of providing the required level of performance without the need for adjustments. Here is an image of the second method, which has 90-degree phase shift from the other. Next is the advantages of JMSK modulation. First, it improves spectral efficiency when compared to other phase shift keyed modes. Next, it can be amplified by a nonlinear amplifier and remain undistorted because there are no elements of the signal that are carried as amplitude variations. Next, it is immune to amplitude variations and therefore more resilient to noise than some other forms of modulation because most noise is mainly amplitude based. Lastly, its combination of spectral efficiency and capability to enable efficient power amplifier operation enabled it to be an excellent choice for radio communication system of the time. Here is an example of an actual electronic system that uses the GMSK modulation technique. The 2G technology means second generation wireless telephone technology. It is based on the technology known as the global system for the mobile communication, or in short we can say GSM. This technology enabled various networks to offer services such as the text messages, the picture messages, and the MMS or the multimedia messages. The 2G technology, the GSM has enabled the users to make use of the short message services or SMS to any mobile network at any time. The SMS is a cheap and easy way to send the message to anyone other than the voice call or conference. This technology is beneficial to both the network operators and ultimate users at the same time. Thus, this digital encryption allows for the transfer of data in such a way that only the intended receiver can receive and read it. These digital signals consume less battery power, so it helps in saving the battery mobiles. So here is the summary about the JMSK, or the Gaussian minimum shift keying. JMSK is a form of modulation based on frequency shift keying that has no phase discontinuities and provides efficient use of spectrum as well as enabling high efficiency radio power amplifiers. Next, JMSK, or what we call the Gaussian minimum shift keying, proved to be a particularly successful form of modulation for GSM and some other radio communication systems. Its combination of spectral efficiency and capability to enable efficient power amplifier operation enabled it to be an excellent choice for systems of time. Lastly, JMSK is probably most widely associated with the 2G GSM mobile communication system, where it be an effective modulation. It's one of the reasons that cell phones had the long battery life in view of the high efficiency that could be obtained from the RF power amplifiers. So that's all for today. Thank you.